Hello, Cooper Clever 1972, back with another video. This is book collection number 15, film book still. Let's get to it. Uh, maybe this doesn't, maybe again, another obsolete book, The Photo Guide to Movie Making. So, there will be more interesting books to come, but some of these books probably aren't that important. Here's like this one, Guide to Filmmaking by Edward Pincus. It's just and I think that's a movie yellow right there, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So this is the thing that Spielberg wants to. He bought like 14 of those because he doesn't want to edit on nonlinear equipment, like the computer. So he bought like 14 of those because I guess the film industry is going to stop, or it has stopped making those kind of editing choices. This is Beginning Filmmaker's Guide to a Successful First Film by Renee Harmon, PhD, and Jim Lawrence, PhD. And I don't think I've read this book. It's just text. I think it has a script in here. Some of these have, no, it doesn't have a script. I'm sorry. Some of these come with scripts. Some of these filmmaking ones. Oh, there's a little bit of a script in here, yeah. Like to use, so you can see how to do it. See how to shoot it, maybe block it out or whatever. This is called Before You Shoot by Helen Garvey. I think I've read a little bit about this. A Guide to Low Budget Film Production. It's like filled with cartoon things and diagrams. This one I highly recommend. Here's another book I really highly recommend. And of course, I think I recommend it more than the dummy book of filmmaking. And this one, there's an idiot's book of screenwriting, which is very good too. And there's even an idiot's book, I think, for short filmmaking, or is it digital video? I'd recommend that one as well. I don't know if they wrote one for short filmmaking. Short filmmaking is mentioned in here, making shorts. Yeah, so maybe a little bit of this could be outdated. An Oscar-worthy overview of the entire filmmaking process, expert advice on producing, directing, and editing your film, foolproof tips on making all kinds of films from documentaries to blockbusters by Joanne Parent. So, this is really good book. Really dumbs it down like, an idiot kind of concept. Gives you a little bit of history of film, the genres, the difference between making an independent film and a Hollywood film, developing a script and setting up script breakdown, shooting schedule, collaborating with hiring the cast and the crew, planning the shoot, directing the crew. What's this right here? Directing actors, directing yourself, dealing with production problems, producing and directing nonfiction films, preparing to edit. I'm just saying these because they're very important, I think. Editing the rough cut, fine-tuning the film, finishing the film or video, completing other post-production tasks, the Hollywood distribution system, independent feature distribution, television sales, alternative and new media distribution. Of course, we're in the age of streaming these days, so this is broadcast networks, but all this might be outdated. not all this. Some of this might be outdated. I think there's some film festivals in here, maybe. Online resources. Um, Further reading. I highly recommend this book. This is a really good book to have. I haven't read it in a long time, but I remember thinking it was a pretty important book. This is not a filmmaking book. It just made its way into this box. It's the, the the woman who wrote it. Her husband died recently. I don't know if she's alive. I don't know. But I bought this book. They were showing My Dinner with Andre at the Jacob Burns Film Center. I don't like My Dinner with Andre. It's just talky. And Jonathan Demme, introduced them, and it's a New Yorker theater and other scenes from life at the movies. I'd like to read this. I just don't know when I'll read it. And I had both the husband and wife who ran this theater sign it for me. And I think all the pictures are in the middle. Or maybe in the back. But let me just show you something. I mean, it showed like Fassbinder, I think, there, and they showed films that wouldn't get attention. Now look at this. Here he is with Alfred Hitchcock. That's pretty cool, I think. Be there. That would just be unbelievable. To see that, to be there, to meet Alfred Hitchcock. And some more pictures here. I think, is that Jonathan Demme? No, it's not. I guess pictures inside the New Yorker Theater. And they also did distribution, I think, too, because, video distribution, because one of my favorite movies, Weekend by Godard, I also had the Criterion, but before the Criterion was released, there was a New Yorker release of it. I'm sorry. Just the New Yorker has a commentary, not the Criterion version. But I like both versions for different reasons, Well, the New Yorker for the commentary, I think it's by Starrett. I can't remember the guy's first name. He also did a commentary for Breathless. I have two versions of Breathless too. I have the Criterion of Breathless, and I got that because of all the stuff that came with it. And then I kept the other one because it has the commentary on that. So you can see Marlon Brando at the bottom there. I think that's Bonnie and Clyde, maybe. This is a era that's gone away. So okay, so maybe we can do the rest of this box in one video. We'll see. Let me see. Hang on a sec. No, maybe not. I don't know. Okay, so I don't know if this is relevant anymore or not. The Beginning Filmmaker's Business Guide, Financial, Legal, Marketing, and Distribution Basics of Making Movies by Renee Harmon. Of course, these days, I think social media is a big, is a highly important factor in being successful of making movies, especially independent cinema. This is an old book. The whole film source book, edited by Leonard Maltin. The complete directory of information and resources for filmmakers, film students, and film buffs. where to go and whom to ask about schools, internship, and training programs, producers, distributors, unions and guilds, foundations, funding and grants, contests and festivals, archives, and libraries. So, again, I don't know. I don't know if I should read all these books. They might be dated and not worth it, you know. This is I have some books on how to make short films. I don't think they're all in this box though, but this is at least one of them. Um, Making a Winning Short: How to Write, Direct, Edit, and Produce a Short Film by Edmund Levy. Um, Speaking of short films, maybe if you go on filmfreeway.com, you can look there to see what film festivals accept short films that can be qualify possibly for an Oscar. I think it's I think if you have a film at Sundance, it also has the possibility of being um, an Oscar nominee if it gets nominated. When I was at Tribeca one year, I saw a short film that was accepted into the um, Oscar short film category, and I think I saw another one um, um, that got in there too. So um, I think one of those won. I know that, you know. Pro technique of making home video movies. This is probably really obsolete, but there might be some things I hear on how to do special effects. But maybe that's irrelevant because you can just buy a book on how to do special effects. So that's probably not worth it, you know. So yeah, I maybe you realize that I'm showing you a lot of books that are just not relevant, but I did recommend a few here, like the Complete Idiot's Guide to Filmmaking, um, the From Real to Deal by Dov S. Simmons, Lloyd Kaufman book maybe. You know, those books are worth. Oh, and Feature Filmmaking at Used Car Prices, and when we get there, Extreme DV at Used Car Prices, which is probably um, a little more relevant to this day and age. So I think we can finish the whole thing in this video. I got one more pile, and that'll be it. So hang on a sec. Okay, so we got. Is this a Cinefex? I think it's a Cinefex, a special book. I think I bought it off of like Amazon, maybe. It's Blade Runner, one of my favorite movies, The Inside Story by Don Shea. I think it covers all the special effects. Yeah, it's a Cinefex, I think. Yeah, it's like a special Cinefex book. Cinefex is a special effects magazine. I think they print like 4 issues a year. Or last I knew they did. But and I have another book on Blade Runner too. Well, I showed you my BFI book on Blade Runner, but I have another one that's about the making of Blade Runner. Blade Runner was a great film. It was like one of the last films to use analog filmmaking, meaning no CGI or anything. And I really like the spirit of Blade Runner. I mean, it wasn't extremely cheap, but they you know they use odds and ends to create these great shots. You know, and when I think when some of the miniatures melted or got it on fire or something. They had to redo it. And Ridley Scott, I think he was undeterred by that. He decided, so the special effects got ruined, we got to do them over again. And he's like a very hands-on director. I think he knows a lot about various aspects of the craft, like Kubrick. Um, so I mean, his hands are all over Blade Runner, and I think like even the cinematography, Jordan Cronenweth was a cinematographer on it, but he was having eye problems. So like, really, Scott is really the genius behind Blade Runner, in my opinion. Uh, Here we got another Ebert book, Ebert's Bigger Little Movie Glossary. So there's some pictures in here. So it's kind of hard to. Um, yeah, I don't. So now we get back to filmmaking books. How to Shoot a Feature Film for Under $10,000 and Not Go to Jail by Brett Stern. So, another concept book. Like some of these filmmaking books have like they go from a certain angle as to how to make your movie. So this is like one way to go about it. But now you can get stuff off of eBay, cameras and lenses really cheap, and do things with your iPhone. You can do iMovie. You can do stuff on that, special effects there. You can buy green screen. It's really become a open area, a wide canvas, a wide plane for everybody. But in a sense that limits you because you got to lead people to you. So I don't know, maybe like Facebook and YouTube are like part of the way to get there. I don't know, but it's different now, that's for sure. This book I got in the late '80s. I got it at Super 8 Sound. Um, they were located in Boston at the time, and I don't think I think they moved to L.A. and I think they still exist. Um, and I think they go by a different name than Super 8 Sound, but this is called How to Shoot a Movie and Video Story: The Technique of Pictorial Continuity by Arthur L. Gaskill and David A. Englander, revised and enlarged. But this is some basic concepts. Maybe my advice, if you want to buy a book about like how to make a movie, is just to buy one or a few of them. Maybe I bought too many of them, and buy a more updated book, and buy like something like Extreme DV, Used Car Prices, and feature filmmaking, the Complete Idiot's Guide to Making to Filmmaking. That's another great book. I said Extreme DV, Used Car Prices, right? I can't remember if I just said that. And yeah, so there was another book I think I read. Oh yeah, From Real to Deal by Dov S. Simmons. Even though he says to use a credit card to finance your films, I think, and you don't necessarily have to go down that road, but it's it can help you maybe see some ingenious ways about how to go about making movies. These are two really big books. Oh, you know what? I should do this one first because I think the next one is a follow up. This is called The Guerrilla Filmmaker's Handbook by Geneva Jolliffe and Chris Jones, about filmmaking by filmmakers for filmmakers. It's got a link, a website thing on it, www.livingspirit.com, the ultimate guide in independent filmmaking. Includes interviews with over 150 industry insiders and experts. Of course, This is a dated, maybe, but I think you can get some good advice out of this. I think this would be a good book to buy. I mean, look at all this that you can get out of get all the information you can get out of here. You probably can get some pretty good advice. Um, you just have to bear in mind that the, the thing that probably you have to bear in mind the most when buying some of these books that might be dated is the technology. Maybe technology, you should basically rely on the internet for figuring that aspect out. But then it comes with a sister, a sequel rather. The Guerrilla Filmmakers Movie Blueprint by Chris Jones, a combination of cookbook and film production diary, the what, where, and how much of independent filmmaking, from the co-author of the Guerrilla Filmmakers Handbook. It's got a cartoon on the back there with the various crew members and cast, I guess. So this might be worth reading. These two books I'm showing right now might be worth reading. But I haven't read them, and I think I bought them because they look pretty informative, I guess would be the right word. I think they're not bad books. I think they're pretty good books to have. But again, I haven't read them. Next up, this is involving film history, so it's not filmmaking really, but well, it's filmmaking, but it's about The Adventures with D.W. Griffith by Carl Brown, edited and with an introduction by Kevin Brownlow. Of course, he's like a restorer of silent movies and talks about silent movies and writes about them. Yeah, this is another book from the library that they were getting rid of. I think I've read a few books on D.W. Griffith. I don't think I've read this one. I think I read a biography of D.W. Griffith. I don't know if I have that book or not. I think the library still owns that. But I did read that book on D.W. Griffith, the biography of him. And his life was kind of sad. Well, I mean, he made the Birth of a Nation, which is sort of a racist movie because the birth of the Ku Klux Klan is depicted as heroes in it, and you have white people in blackface. Very insulting movie. The next film he made was a film called Intolerance, which I have on Kino DVD. It's about these 4 stories that happen in history and that go to the same outcome, but there might be I don't want to spoil it. There might be something that you don't know how it's going to end. I'll say that. So, and then after D.W. Griffith made those films, maybe he made some other films like Way Down East, Broken Blossoms. Broken Blossoms is probably a racist movie too, with I can't remember who plays the Chinese character, but it was a white man playing a Chinese character. But he died in the 1940s, I believe. By that time he was like an alcoholic, and I think he sort of popularized or set into motion what a 2-hour, the regular format of a 2-hour movie was like. Start off with a wide shot, then go to medium shot, then cut to close-ups. He was like he was at least one of the people that sort of established the grammar of filmmaking. And towards the end of his life, he wouldn't get financing for any films or anything, and he's sort of like the grandfather of cinema. So not to say that Eisenstein and Pudovkin didn't do anything significant, but he was one of the early pioneers in cinema. Of course, carrying the stigma of controversy with him. This book's Michael Weiss book is called Film School: How to Watch DVDs and Learn Everything About Filmmaking. I haven't read this. Richard D. Pepperman, but the title intrigued me, so I bought it. And yeah, that's a pretty good advice too, is to watch DVDs. I might have said that in my DVD and Blu-ray collection videos, like when I showed the Lord of the Rings ones. I might have said something like, if you really want to know how films are made in the kitchen sink, everything in the kitchen sink, how to do everything, like the catering, practical jokes, you know, if you really want to get the nitty gritty, then you might want to buy the extended editions, even if you're not a huge fan, because I don't know, I find them enjoyable, but they're not Citizen Kane or Stanley Kubrick films or Kurosawa or Ingmar Bergman or Fassbinder or Fellini, or Antonioni. That I don't think they match up to that, but but I think they can be important, for learning how to make films and learning the practical aspects of it, and not maybe not getting bogged down in theory, but learning how to do it on a practical level. I guess you could put it that way. Two more books. I know I'm going a little over, but there are only two more books. Pocket Lawyer for Filmmakers. This is printed by another filmmaking publishing company, Focal Press, by Thomas A. Crowell, Esquire, a legal toolkit for independent producers. And again, maybe this is a dated book. Some of the books I show in the future are not going to be dated. Not all these books are dated, but this might be. I don't know, because the laws change. Maybe the laws change. Maybe you can get some good tidbits out of here, and maybe it depends upon what you want to cover as far as filmmaking goes. Last up, this looks like a pretty interesting book, and it might be a pretty relevant book. I think it'd be pretty relevant to today. I think the whole book would still be relevant. Special Effects by Michael Sloan. How to create a Hollywood film look on a home studio budget. It's a nice cover. I like the cover. I have another book on special effects, which is very detailed. I don't know. I don't make much money, and even things like computer software or what have you, like some of this is computer stuff, I think. I don't know if I have the money for. I'm pretty dirt poor, but maybe this shows you how to do some things you can do. I don't know. Still, I'd like to read it. That's why I bought it, and I think it's pretty interesting stuff in here. So like I'll just end the video like I've wanted to make movies, and but I don't make a lot of money, and you have to sort of decide what to do with your money. Like a few videos back, well, maybe like more than a few, but I showed my electric guitar. That wasn't expensive for most people, but it's expensive kind of for me, and I want to buy an amp for that. But like if I want to buy cameras, maybe I can get them fairly cheap, but I'm like dirt poor, so I mean, like making a film is maybe can be achieved, but it's very hard. I've got to cover various other things, food and gas, and of course I want to take a trip to Japan. That's not cheap. That's like one of the most expensive places you can go to in the world. I think it's like $5,000, $6,000, and I think it'll take me like 4 or 5 years to get there. So, but I have tons of films to watch that I still haven't watched yet. I've got a few streaming services like Fandor and Shudder, and Netflix and Mubi to keep me company. So, and I got a movie pass from my cousin's family, which they got me a year's worth, and they have three plans. They've got a 3 month plan for $30, a 6 month plan for $60, and a 12-month plan for $120. So the idea is you show your card or app on the phone, and you can go to one movie per day at participating theaters. Um, it has to be a 2D movie. It can't be 3D. It can't be a special event. It has to be a new movie, and only one movie per day. So you can go every single day to the cinema, just present your card and go to one film per day. So you could see 7 films in a week, if you wanted to. And basically, what you'd be paying is like $2.50 for a whole week's worth of movies. How many you decide to see during the week. So I'm gonna take advantage of that as long as it lasts. I don't know. I don't know if MoviePass will collapse at some point and it won't be relevant. I mean, some theaters have backed out of providing it. The service. But I'll ride it out as long as I can, I guess. I still got to get the card. It's coming in the mail to me. I got to activate it. But I think the first thing I might try to see is all the Best Picture nominees, because for the past over a year now, I've lived in this apartment, and the rent is kind of high, so I can't use my money, spread it out more to do things like I basically have given up buying movies, except I know I'm going on, but I'm going to end this soon. So like when I spend my credit card, when I spend up to a certain amount, I get a gift certificate in the mail. So I might buy an occasional Blu-ray that way. I work at the library, and we have the Friends of the Library have a bookseller. They call it the bookseller in the basement, and they sell used DVDs and used Blu-rays, or new DVDs and Blu-rays, and vinyl records and books and CDs that people donate to the library, and they sell them. So I've picked up I picked up a few movies that way, and they're only like, when you buy a movie there, it's like $2 or $3. So there's a possibility I could buy a movie there, but I'm trying. I think I'm gonna stop buying movies for quite some time, because there's other things. I want to make a movie, but I don't know how realistic that is, with money I have, and I want to go to Japan. I've wanted to go there since I was a kid, so uh, I don't know. It's so you got to make decisions. But anyways, enough of that. I'll be showing you another video at some point. Maybe I'll do one tomorrow on Thursday. I'm not sure, but I'll try to put these up tonight, which is Wednesday. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Check out my other videos, by the way. I've got poetry. I've done GarageBand, where I use loops and join them together and created songs out of them. So I'm not technically composing them. I've done a few on my MIDI keyboard, GarageBand, and I hit a key, and it sounds like I'm hitting a number of keys real fast, but that's not the case. It's just me hitting a key because I'm using synthesizer or arpeggiator or whatever. And I did one of a guitar thing. It's called something like Just Listen to This Music. And I sped up the tempo so it sounds like it's being played real fast. And I've done some, poetry. DVD and Blu-ray collection, I have that. I had a film I thought of making called Cost of Love. There's a storyboards with sound effects, music, and voiceover narration for that. I did a short film for a filmmaking class I took called Dirty Dog. We used talking dogs and I made it into singing dogs, and changed the pitch of the ZZ Top's voice, for different dogs. So I did that. So I'm rambling on and on. I'll end this video now. Thanks for watching, and I'll try to, next video, I'll try to trim it more to more like a 20-minute length. Okay, so that's it. See you soon, and thanks for watching.